under our portfolio, but today we're going to be focusing on just Columbine Vineyards. I have Bryce, who's on the call. He'll be talking a little bit about what he does at Columbine Vineyards and about our grapes. And he will also be teaching you guys how to test the bricks with the refractometer. Okay, and then I'm going to show you just a small video of kind of seeing what our vineyards look like where there are. So I apologize if this is not professional. I don't know how to make a video sequence, and I apparently don't know how to make a presentation on slideshow. So here's the best that I've got, guys. Okay. So can you guys see it? Am I still sharing? Okay. Maybe my internet's not that great. Ooh. Here. Smart beginning. Nope. And this was the best video too. Let's see. I'll move on to the next one. Okay, so here are some vineyards. And this was taken by marketing. So this, I'm assuming this.
Can you guys see it? Okay, because I can't see it. I don't know why. It's okay.
Oh, you're missing out.
I know. I don't know if it's because I hit recording, but I think it'd be all right. As long as I can see it.
Okay, this one. And this had beautiful music on it too. So sorry, guys. This is why I don't do presentations. And our red grapes. And you can see some irrigation action happening right there. Woohoo. All right, I think that's it. All right, so you're on, Bryce. Good luck. Let me stop sharing.
I don't have any cool videos, but we'll see what we can do. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the refractometer first. It's a tool that we use to measure sugar in the grapes. Each variety of grapes that we have kind of has a sweet spot, a harvestable level that we want before we get in there and start picking. So each one has its own criteria, and this refractometer is what we use to measure sugar. I'm going to step into the lab. Are you guys familiar with the refractometer at all? Okay.
So you guys should have got one in your kit.
Perfect. I like it. What it does, if you put pure water on the deal, you're going to read a 0. It measures in bricks. Bricks is the unit of measure. And when there's sugar or soluble solids in a liquid, light will kind of refract, it'll bend, and it can give you a unit of measurement. So the higher number on your scale, the more sugar the grape or liquid or whatever has. So like I was saying, each variety kind of has a sweet spot, whether it's 15, 16, some are 20. That's how we know if it's harvestable, if it's mature and ready to eat. So I'm going to take a bunch of grapes, and the best way to do this when we're planning to get into a field to harvest, we'll go through the fields and, find a few different spots within the field, and we'll take a couple clusters just randomly throughout. That way we're getting a good sample size. And I got my handy dandy grape crusher. Okay. So I'm going to make my own little juice. Oops. And if you wanted to do this at home, you can even take just the individual berry, kind of squeeze it, and you're just fine. So, got my refractometer, refractometer. I got my juice. Okay. So I'm going to pour it, the juice, the liquid, whatever you're trying to measure, on this blue part. You want to make sure it's dry before you do it. And you want to make sure that it's a pure liquid. You don't want any debris, any of the fruit, skin, or anything like that. So I got my liquid on my refractometer on that blue strip, and I have the clear plastic covering it. And then you look into the light, because that's how it's getting its measurement. And it's going to tell you where the blue line is your measurement, your Brix level, or how much sugar is in there. So right here, I'm at a 16 Brix. So that's decent. That's some good sugar. This variety in particular can have anywhere from 18 to 22. So again, the higher the number, the more sugar or the more sweet it is. And this works on any fruit to see how sweet or how much sugar is in there. I got this guy, and then I also have a digital refractometer, which is pretty sweet because you don't have to, do all this fancy stuff. You just pour it on. I'll get into the screen. And you can kind of see 17. So, but I had a 17 on this guy and a 16 on this guy. Pretty close. Sometimes this gets a little tricky if you have, like I said, some dirt, some grime. It happens a lot if you're using it throughout the day. You got to keep cleaning it. So basically, yeah, this measures the amount of light coming in through. If it's pure water, you'll get a 0. If it's a solution that has sugar, the more sugar you have, the higher Brix level you will get. So that's a tool that we use to make sure our vineyards are ready to go, ready to harvest.
What's the typical range like? Is each variety different, or?
Yeah, each variety is different. And there's standards. So if 5 different growers have the same variety, we want to keep the same level of quality. So we'll say flame seedless, you have to have, there we go.
USDA.
This is the USDA. These are levels. These are different table grape varieties and harvestable levels, or it says maturity. So for example, we're at Thompson Seedless. A 17 is what the harvestable requirement is. So if I have a block of Thompson Seedless and I go through and I make my measurements and I have a 15, by law, by USDA standards, we cannot harvest that block yet. We have to wait till it's a 17. So this criteria has kind of been established for each variety. A 17 on a Thompson Seedless is that sweet spot, but a 14 is just fine for a superior seedless, which is a different variety. So kind of just depends on the flavor profile and standards set by USDA. And the higher you get, you might get over that sweet spot and have, say, a 22 Brix level, and it's too sweet, and it's almost like your juice, grape juice that you buy at the store.
Okay. So for eating grapes, is it a different like Brix scale than you would for juice grapes? You let them go longer for juice, or?
Absolutely. Yep. So typically, table grapes. So yeah, these are called table grapes, by the way. The ones that you buy at the store, they are farmed differently than the juice grapes that you buy or wine grapes. So at this scale, there's 14 to 17 is the scale for table grapes, which is mild, neutral, not too sweet. When you're talking wine or juice grapes, that's more like 22. So we're talking very, a lot higher than table grape
Okay.
flavor. If you had a juice grape on the vine at 22 bricks, it's very, very sweet.
Okay.
I have a question.
Hear it.
So by farm differently, do you mean like they're given different conditions or they're just picked at different times?
Okay, so we're neighbors, we're in the same area. I have Thompson seedless, you have Thompson seedless. We might have different techniques, just like, playing a sport. I got different strategies than you. We're playing the same sport, but we're gonna have different outcomes. Same deal.
Got it. Good question. Any other questions?
So when we have when we're using the refractometer,
Yes.
I put my grapes in the fridge. Does that affect the outcome of like the sugar that we see?
Another really good question. No, typically grapes, doesn't matter the temperature, whatever sugar content is in that fruit or berry at that time, doesn't matter if it's hot or cold, it'll be the same. We're just measuring the amount of sugar in that liquid. So great question though.
I have another question. How long, so say once you plant them and they're all on the vine, like how long does it take for you to get the fruit off the vineyard? Or like
So there's in California, we have over 90 different varieties. This guy right here is Holiday Seedless. This is our company's proprietary variety. But within our portfolio, I think we have 12 to 15 different varieties. And then just on this sheet, there's 10 varieties. Okay. So basically everything breaks dormancy or comes out after winter the same time. We're talking late March, early January. But depending on the variety, depending on the location of the vineyard, you might have a variety that is harvestable at the end of June and some that are harvestable in October or November. So it just depends on that variety and its own characteristics.
got it.
So whatever, April to July, 3 months, 4 months, and April to November. And that's
Okay.
the levels that we harvest for. This is our last week of harvest, actually.
Oh, okay. And you guys, you do it all for table grapes. You don't do all the juice or no?
We farm typically table grapes.
Okay.
There's more profit compared to
Okay.
the juice grapes. And I just saw a question on there.
Yeah.
What's the most common variety?
Yes, in our valley. Maria.
So, it's actually changing. For the longest time, grapes have been around for obviously thousands of years, but commercially, there's a Thompson seedless, which I mentioned, Flame seedless, Superior seedless. These things have been grown since I think the 60s or 70s, so quite a while, and they have been kind of the staples, the most common ones that you see. So I'd say Flame seedless is probably the most popular variety, but it's also the variety that's getting replaced the most because there's so many new grapes out there with different flavor profiles, or they're easier to grow and manage. You guys hear about the cotton candy and all that kind of stuff. So there's a new wave of flavored grapes that are kind of coming in.
Okay. Any other questions?
Is the sugar different from the green and red grapes?
Yes, the sugar level should be different. I think the green grape that you guys have will probably be lower than the red. The red's typically more sweet. Just on these varieties, at least. Each variety has its own little flavor compound, so it's hard to just say red grapes are sweeter than green grapes. But the ones that you guys have, I think the green ones should have a little lower number than the red.
Got it. And then do you hand pick your grapes, or do you guys use, like I've seen videos of machines, or?
Everything is hand picked. You got to be
Okay.
very delicate. So if you look at this grape or this bunch, and I've already kind of taken it apart, but right here you have good red color. But if you kind of turn it around, it's a little lighter green. So we have to pick with good color. If it's a red grape, you got to have red color, right? So it takes somebody to actually go in there and hand pick and take out a couple berries that might be a little light and make sure it's a presentable bunch. So there's companies, there's engineers that are trying to work on mechanical harvest for table grapes, but still old-fashioned way, going in there by hand is the way to do it.
And for red grapes, what is the ideal number on the refractometer?
Typically 18. 18 is a safe number. It tastes good. It's not too sweet and not too bitter.
I was asking because I just did it and it read 22.5.
I'm sure it's really sweet. Did you try it?
I did not. I kind of don't want to.
Give it a shot. I mean, it'll be sweet. The
Yeah.
holiday has a good flavor.
Let's try. We got green and red, so we can try them both.
Yeah, so that's a great test. Do each one and get the bricks level and do a little taste test. Okay, this is what a 17 tastes like, or this is what a 22 tastes like. There'll be a
So
difference.
does it say the number, or we're counting the bricks, like you said?
Yeah, the number bricks. It's actually BRIX. That's like just the degree, the unit of measurement. So if I say, pounds or whatever, bricks is that number. So when you're looking at your scale, yeah, you have 15. You just go up 1, 2, 3, 18. And if it's fuzzy, you play with it by twisting this deal right here, and it'll make a more clear line. So where the blue meets the white is your bricks level, kind of like a binoculars or a telescope. Is it fuzzy, or are you guys getting a good reading? And if you look up to the light, it makes it easier, makes it more defined. That's kind of the trick. Actually, this is a 17, so these things are right on the money.
My red one's 21.
There we go. Should be nice and tasty.
Let's try the green.
Did you eat it though?
No, I'm gonna
Yeah.
try it.
Yeah, that's what a 21 tastes like.
21. I'm gonna try them all different. 20, 22.
Okay.
What are you guys getting?
You guys should probably take those when you go grocery shopping and pick a before you pick a grape.
You'll also notice, if you take a berry, depending on the location on that bunch. So I just took one from the middle. If I take one from the bottom, you might get different readings. You might get a 17, 18, 20. So the uniformity is not quite the same. That's why I like to throw a bunch of them in there and mash them all together. That way you get a good average.
Does it work on other fruit?
Yes, anything with sugar.
Do they really measure? Do they do the same thing with other fruits, or is it different?
Yeah, no, this is the same type of technology.
What is the little screwdriver for?
Okay, the screwdriver is to help calibrate it. So if you were to have pure water on here, it should read 0 as you look through the thing. But if it's off a little bit, if it's like a 1 or a 2, you use that screwdriver to get it back down to 0, calibrate it, so you know your reading's accurate every time.
Mm. Priscilla, I'm gonna take you up on that. I might take it to the store with me. The people be like, "What are you doing?" That's cool. Huh. So how often do you do it if you're waiting to pick them? Like every couple days till they're ripe, or?
Yeah. Say, you know, we're coming up on a field that we think has good color. That's your first indication, you know, especially a red grape. You're starting to get a lot of color. Okay, it's naturally ripening. So we'll go in there and we'll make an evaluation. Say we have to have an 18, but we just pulled a 17 on our sample. We're going to wait one more day. Each day you just wait and hope that it gets to that reachable number. Typically in the summer, it moves pretty fast. You get a Brix point every, I don't know, 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
Just depends on that, how fast that block ripens.
Got it. On the pesticide side, do you guys spray like the grapes? Are they organic or?
We have, sorry, my assistant over here who bailed out of the, yeah, we have both. We have organic and conventional.
Okay.
Both of them, we do use chemicals to spray. There's natural pesticides for organics. One that we use as an insecticide actually is derived from a chrysanthemum flower. So that flower has this natural compound that kind of combats insects and bugs and pests. So they were able to, you know, guys a lot smarter than me, synthesized it, put it into a chemical form, and we use that as a organic, natural way of kind of keeping down some little bugs.
Got it. Do you know the number one like pest you guys have in the vineyards or bug wise?
We have a lot. So we have fungal pests quite a bit. Mold, rot. You know, if you leave fruit out on your counter for a long time, you start to see a little fuzz or mold or something on there. So that happens out in the field too. And we have preventative measures to kind of keep the grapes clean. Birds come in there and make little bird pecks. So if there's a wound, there's a little hole in the grapes, that's an entry point for molds or mildew to kind of get in there and get nasty. We have all kinds of little critters that love grapes also. So we're just constantly out there, you know, scouting the fields, taking a look, making sure that, you know, pests aren't getting out of control. We also have natural predators out in the field, different kind of insects that feed on the bad guys. So we like to use those guys to our advantage. So, you know, we go out there and we see that we have vine mealybug, which is a big pest, but we also have green lacewing. Well, green lacewing feeds on that vine mealybug. So we have a good predator to prey ratio. And we want to maintain that balance. So we're always keeping track of what's out in the field.
Okay. So say if you had something like you were talking about, do you plant those other insects to eat the other ones, or do you put them on the vine or put boxes out? Or?
That is an option. It's an expensive option. So we just kind of hope that we naturally have these guys floating around. And as the bad guys come in, the good guys also tend to follow.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
sense.
you can buy ladybugs, you know, in a lab and release them out to the field. So examples like that all the time.
Got it. Any more questions?
Personally, what kind of grapes do you recommend?
The one that you're eating's, you know, that's our proprietary. I like it a lot. It's very sweet. It's very juicy. There's a handful out there that that are really tasty and hold up well. So when you buy them at the store, they're still pretty fresh. There's also some that don't hold up well. So you check them out at the store, and the stems are brown and the flavor's not quite there. So this holiday grape is really good. There's another green one called Pristine. That one's good. But that's our competitor, so forget I even said that. Autumn Crisp, Superior, Ivory, Chrissy, Allison, Majestic, Magenta, Timco. They're all good. And they all have their own unique flavors, crunchiness, the whole 9 yards, whatever you're into.
Wow. So do all those varieties go to all stores, or which is your number one store that the grapes go to?
Yeah, so typically the stores kind of have their preference.
Okay.
So they might bring in, say 4 different varieties. They might bring in a green, a black, and a red, and don't really worry about anything else. So that's part of our game, is planting the right varieties that the stores like. Obviously Costco, Walmart, they're very large distributors. So we want to make sure that we're making those guys happy and have the varieties and quality that they like. But it is preference on the store itself.
Gotcha. I'll be looking for them when I go to the store next.
Yeah, so locally, we're in Vons, we're in Albertsons, Sprouts. We don't have a Whole Foods. I don't think we're in Walmart or Costco.
Yeah.
We're in Costco
And Walmart.
and Walmart.
Okay.
Sam's Club. So we're out there. Holiday specifically.
Okay. So where's the furthest you guys distribute? You guys go to other states, all over?
We go to other states, we go to other countries.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you name it, all over the world. So our harvest window in California is from June to November. But you can't get grapes in Thailand June through November. So that's why we export to countries, far away, so they have grapes year round. And when our season's done in California, you'll see grapes come in from South America, say December through March, April, South America, Australia, Mexico. Those have their different growing regions. So that's where we'll get our off season is their on season.
That's cool. Do you guys mess with raisins or anything, or that's to a whole different level?
That's a different level. So we have really high quality standards for table grapes. You got to have the same size. Well, first of all, you got to have a certain size, right? It's got to be big enough. They got to be uniform, so the same size. You got to have the right color. You got to have the right brix level. So there's all of these different criterias, okay? And we go through there and we harvest the same field 1, 2, 3 times. Just depends. It doesn't all ripen at the same time. So we'll go through and we'll make a pass and pick 50% of the crop, and then we'll go through and pick, the other 50% of the crop. What's left behind, the stuff that doesn't have good color, the stuff that might be smaller, might be ununiform, that either goes to juice. So some guy comes through there and just picks it all like crazy, and that goes to the juice facility, or it can go to raisins as well. Typically your raisins are kind of like the worst quality grape you can get. The third, the fourth pass, the stuff that you can't put into a bag or a box to sell.
Oh, gotcha.
And what about like grape jams or jellies?
Good question. Yeah, that's kind of the same. Some people grow their grapes specifically for wine or jelly or juice or raisins. So that's a completely different growing style. They all are grapes, but just different. But yeah, that's typically a variety. So Concord is a variety that is a terrible table grape. It doesn't have good flavor. It's nasty and small, and it's got a big O seed, but it's great for jelly. So they go through, they harvest it and they process it and get the, the good stuff out and make it into a jelly form.
Got it. Do you guys tear out the plants each year and replant new, or do they reproduce for however many years, like trees or?
Yeah, you can have vines in the ground for hundreds of years.
Oh wow, really? And they
Don't.
produce typical, huh?
Yeah, we don't, because the varieties are changing so often that we got to keep up with what's hot, right? So we might have a 40-year-old vine, and we might have a 2 or 3-year-old vine. It just depends on if that 40-year-old vine is like a flame seedless, then it's been popular for 40 years and it's good. It's tried and true. But yeah, they go dormant every year. So in the winter, the leaves fall off. We go through there and we prune them down to the nubs basically, and then the next spring, March, April, they come back out and they grow new leaves and stems and shoots and fruit. We call that a perennial crop.
Okay. And then they typically, like the older ones, grow as much fruit as the younger ones, or does it kind of just depend?
Yeah, so it takes probably 4 to 5 years for a grape to hit its maximum potential.
Okay.
So before that, the first 2-3 years, you're just trying to get it to grow and be established, and we make the structure of the vine the way that we want it. So after about 5 years, say 5 to 15, 20 years, it's getting its max production, the most fruit that you'll get from it. After that, vines are older. There's, pests that just come in after 20 years of being in the ground. The production starts to go down a little bit, and then you get to a point where it's not worth it to keep those vines. If they're 25 years old and they're just not producing like a young, 5-10-year-old, it's time to get those out of the field.
Got it.
And what do you guys do during bad harvest years?
Well, what do you mean, like low crop or?
Yeah, like they're not producing as much throughout the whole year, even like the smaller plants and the older ones.
Good question. Okay, so the young vines, we know right off the bat that it's not going to produce a lot. So sometimes we don't even go in there and harvest. It's not worth it. We have that already in our minds. So if it's 1 to 2 years old, no harvest. 3rd year, okay, let's go in there and get whatever we can get. It might not be a lot, but if the quality is good, then we'll go through and make it. But regardless, if it's a good year or a bad year, we still have to go through there and harvest and try to get as many boxes as we can with the right quality. So we're in it to win it no matter what.
Okay. If you don't mind me asking, because these are all going to be seniors and stuff, like what was your degree and your path, so they can maybe get an idea of, just because we talked about with Priscilla, like internships later on, if that helps, or just stuff like that.
Yeah. I think first and foremost, you want to be interested in growing things. And, we live in the Valley, Bakersfield, Delano, McFarland. It's hot. So you got to be able to go out there in the heat, in the summer. That's when all of this stuff is being harvested, and make sure that it's growing properly, and, that we're giving it the nutrition and the water and all that fun stuff. So you got to have that. That's your first criteria. Internships are great. I worked for a few different companies, a grape company, fertilizer company, pesticide company, a soil scientist. Anything that you can kind of just start to learn about agriculture, farmland, the soil, how things work is a step in the right direction. My major was fruit science, so it's very, very specific, and it worked out for me. But there's crop science, there's plant science, there's shoot, ag business. There's all kinds of different agricultural routes that you can take, soil science, and they're all beneficial just to kind of learn how plants work and how to maximize the production of whatever fruit, vegetable, grain that you have.
Perfect. You guys have any more questions? Do you do vegetables too?
Nope, just table grapes.
Just fruits? Oh, you just, okay. Okay. Got it.
At least Columbine Vineyards. We have our sister company has blueberries, citrus, almonds. I think that's it.
Blueberries. Okay. Was there anything else we can think about? It's pretty informative.
Yeah, there's a whole lot that goes into it. You know, each plant, not just grapes, but each, you know, an almond tree or a citrus tree or blueberries, lettuce, everything has its own style of growth. So you got to, you know, and its own length of growth. So a vegetable might be in the ground for 3 months from planting till harvest. Grapes could be 30 years old. So it's really interesting and kind of cool to learn the different crops out there. And you might love lettuce and want to learn how to grow the best kind of lettuce you can make. So yeah, it's really fun, but you got to get started somewhere. So either learning about it in class or getting an internship or just walking around, you know, an almond orchard or citrus or grove is a great way to kind of get it started.
Gotcha. Okay. You guys get the, how do you say it again? Refractor meters down? I see you guys are doing them over there. Refractometer. Okay. Okay. You guys getting high numbers or?
Anything above 24.
24. Okay.
No, I'm asking if anyone got.
I know. Harvey's, what's yours?
I did a green one and it was 18.
It was what? 15?
18.
Yeah, a little lower. Not as sweet.
We did the red one and we got 22.
Good. Yeah. No, more sugar.
Lexi, what'd you get?
For the purple one, I got 21, and for the green one, I got 16, I think.
Yeah, that's right on the money.
How about you, Gio?
I didn't try the green one because I need to go get a cup. But I did try sweet tea. And what's the difference between the sugars in sweet tea and grapes? That's a question I did have.
Sugar is sugar. There's if you want to get into the nitty gritty, there's fructose, sucrose, dextrose. So different kinds of sugar depending on the crop. But we'll just call it all sugar and it's all about the same. Depending on what you have, say if it's real sugar, real cane sugar, then you should be able to get a Brix reading on it. The way that these things work, literally, it's not specific to sugar. It's specific to soluble solids in the liquid. So it's just very commonly used with reading sugar. But you can get, I don't know, something else. Other types of compounds, not just sugar.
I just got 22 on that one.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, the red one.
Yeah, so if you get above, if you're like 23, 24, 25, that's overripe, and it's really sweet, and it's over mature, so your storability starts to go down. The composition of the grape starts to get a little flabby, not as firm. So there's like a good window. So we want to pick from 18 to 22. That's our goal. That's our target. Anything before that, it's not as sweet. Anything past that, it's overripe and probably won't hold up in the store.
Okay. Yeah, on the life on these things, once you rinse the grapes, don't like they don't store as well, or
Yeah, there you go. So if you look at the grape, there's kind of like a white, almost like a dust on it.
Mhm.
That's a natural cuticular wax. It's called bloom. So it's a natural, almost like a barrier or defense mechanism for the grape that'll kind of maintain the moisture. So once you wash it off, it tends to dry out faster, or lose its storability.
okay. That makes sense.
But you do want to wash them before you eat them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's right at like 45 minutes. So I don't know if you have anything else to add, or what was that?
What's our favorite grape? Holiday.
Yes, holiday grapes. Yes, favorite grapes. Yes. Go buy some. I'll look for them in the stores next time. I think we all will.
Great.
With our refractometers, or if I said that right. Okay, you guys have any more questions before we're done? Yes, no? They're gonna be playing with us all day.
Yeah, measure, shoot, whatever. You
Every-
can't measure a banana because you can't really see through it, but anything that you can that has juice, you should be able to get a bricks level on there. It's kind of fun.
Perfect. Okay, well, I think that's it. Thank you. I appreciate it for joining us today and putting this together and giving
Thank
us those awesome kits. Yeah. We'll
Thanks
do
for having
another one. Yeah. Okay.
This
Well,
is
thank you guys.
like an ag type of class or a leadership class.
Yeah, so it's a program that we do with the high school students. So we just usually we take them on field trips and we take them to all these different companies to see about ag and let them do hands-on kits. But this year we're Zoom.
Got it.
So we do 2 a month, and then we just have different varieties of companies that come through.
That's
So,
exciting. Well, you
yeah.
guys are starting on the right foot, so keep it up.
Yeah. Well, thank you. We appreciate it. Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.